Hello Sounders, it is Mick here to mull over that transfer window with you. Now that it's all done and dusted. It's been complicated, it's been long, it's been interesting, but more than that, it's been vital to our club's hopes of survival in the Championship, because we had a bit of a dive in the autumn. The previous window, in the summer, simply hadn't produced the players and therefore the results we had looked for and hoped for. So we went from finishing last season a Championship side looking up to Christmas of this season a Championship side looking down. Injuries. Really, I do honestly believe injuries to important spine of the club, team, players made a difference. But all teams suffer from those, you could argue, and therefore they're no excuse. The conditions under which our recruitment team and John Massinho planned their squad have been fairly clear since our American owners arrived. He and his family would fund and improve the infrastructure to make Fratton a safe and pleasant place for the fans. And the club would spend the profits from playing in the Championship on future players. And indeed, Fratton is a great place now, and it's a full house. The problem is, there are no profits when playing in the Championship. At any rate, they're pretty slender when viewed against the wage bills and the values of average Championship players. Michael Eisner pointed out when he studied the finances of our football club and the British football clubs generally and the Championship clubs in particular, he pointed out that while the club was still in Division 1, that was fine, but the spending in the Championship, led by aspiration and optimism, was virtually unsustainable, if I can say that word, unsustainable. You needed luck. And clubs that felt lucky mostly went bust or received a terrible financial setback which took years to recover from. Pompey adopted a middle route through the minefield to reach for the many millions required to guarantee a prospective promotion-winning side. They had decided to spend part of their budget on buying young prospects with the ability, talent and years ahead to improve and as a result gain market value, to make themselves therefore a selling as well as a buying club, to play the football market. It sounds fun and it is interesting, but lots of clubs do it and it really isn't easy. And it takes seasons. We can see potential rewards in the policy, even this season in the emergence of Zach Swanson and Terry Devlin. And even it could be argued on the profit made from Callum Lang's departure. Even those players who failed at Fratton have mostly washed their faces, if you know what I mean by that. They've paid for themselves pretty much as they depart. Although the same can't be said for, I suppose, Tom McIntyre, who I gather is now playing for Aberdeen, but to no benefit for us. And Abdoulaye Kamara, although I think I did actually see a line or two that said that we did actually get some value back for him, but probably not, by no means anywhere near what he cost us to bring over. But all that is the reason for their failures is because this is not, obviously, an exact science, this bringing on of young footballers. Young footballers are complicated. They have weird minds and lives and futures, some of them. But it's a strategy, and I, for one, support it. In this January window, that strategy, the investment for the future, has simply had to take a back seat because of the shortcomings in the summer. In fact, you could probably only count Madio Dia as a potential investment. And he only arrived at PO4 when a considerable effort to prize a different promising centre-back from Dundee failed to be concluded. Someone that I gather we may go back to in the future. But Madio Dia joins Aji Elise in the central defenders pool at Pompey. It's quite a large pool, but that's because we've got so many injury problems with the lads in that particular part of the defence. Aji Elise is a boy from Sunderland. He's 25 and he's on loan. He sounds really promising. It sounds as though Sunderland have got great hopes for him. But he hasn't played enough football for them and enough football for himself, I'm sure, because he's had injury problems and he's still learning the game. But he's a loan. There's no reason why we can't convert a loan into a permanent signing if we are really impressed by the boy. All will be revealed. We'll all enjoy having a look at him. Another loan signing has flown in from South America, which is exotic for PO4. And that's Gustavo Caballero. Gus, his new teammates perhaps. But this one is with an option to buy at the end of the season. The best, you could say, the best of all possible worlds, you would think, for Pompey. But he most certainly will not have come cheap, either as a loan. There'll be a pretty large loan fee for him, probably. And his side in Brazil, of course, is Santos, who signed him themselves last July. So he's on a new contract with them, 4-year contract. And they paid well over the equivalent of, I think I've worked it out, the Cruzeiro to the pound. Well over £1 million, I think. Having said that, he's only played 13 games alongside Neymar at Santos. So for whatever reason, it's not necessarily working out for him there. He either needs more experience or he's not what they want. We will all find out about him. I think John Mousinho has said that he's excited to see how he goes, and we should all be. It's fantastic. He plays as a winger. He's quick. He scores goals. I've seen bits of footage of him. Very difficult to tell from that, I think, but can he do it for us? If he can, it's going to be good fun to watch. And he is, I remind myself, only 24. So when I say the younger guys that we've signed will undoubtedly improve, 24 is nothing. He's still got room to improve himself, and hopefully he can do that in England. Earlier in the winter, I just wanted to say one thing about him, Gus. In his first game in Portsmouth, it got postponed, didn't it, by the rain? And I did discover, and I should tell you, that Gustavo isn't going to be thrown by rain over here. In Santos, they get about twice the average annual rainfall that falls on Hampshire. Having said that, you may find it a little bit chilly. The average temperature, it's the winter in Santos, but the average temperature even in winter is 19 degrees centigrade. So Gus may need to wear his gloves when we next see him. Earlier in the window, Pompey enjoyed some good buys. The experience of Millie Ali on loan, and Keshi Anderson and Ibu Adams both came permanently to our club. And these are experienced signings, and they so far have looked good. 3 goals for Ali and Adams, and a lot of appreciation of them from the stands. We had been promised up to 6 arrivals, and it ended up with 7, because another Luton player joined Millie Ali on loan in Jacob Brown, a forward who, along with Ali, has Championship and indeed Premiership experience with Luton. So, 7 new players in, 2 out, including Lange, whose sale I did talk about on Pompey Sound a little while ago, and who, like pretty much all Pompey fans, I will miss very much. Although, when I think about it, I've already missed him rather a lot, because he's been absent through injury. It is fascinating to anticipate 7 new players to watch, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. But my enthusiasm for the window has been a bit dulled, I have to say, Sounders, by noisy fans and their complaints. And it's all about money, their complaints. It's all about us not spending enough money for them. It's all about us not forking out more millions for them. I think it all began with the self-named Pompey Alliance sprouting a bunch of social media posts about cheapskate owners and uncompetitive budgets. I don't think anyone who actually knows the budget for new players transfers has claimed that it's totally uncompetitive. Even John Mousinho, who's the most directly affected by how much can be spent, he has said, I admit, it doesn't match other clubs in the Championship, but that's hardly surprising. There are clubs that are benefiting from parachute payments out of the Prem. Some have traded very successfully and earned millions to put back into their club market. And a process we're trying to establish, but it does take time. And then there are some owners who are prepared to go into debt for extra finance. But the threat to that is, if the gamble doesn't pay off, you go into a spiral of financial hardship like Leicester and West Brom, and Wednesday in particular this season in the Championship. Surely the only path open to us is the building one. But of course, some folks don't like brick by brick. They don't like it. To be fair, perhaps Eric overdid it a bit in his time when he first arrived. And also, to be fair, we human beings seem to be by nature impatient. It's probably because we're not immortal. We don't have all the time in the world. Nevertheless, some folks' comments are, well, confused. Here's one. I quote, "Your replacement for Lang," I don't know why it's our replacement for Lang. Your replacement for Lang, he writes, is a random Paraguayan on loan from a subpar league whilst pocketing £2 million we get for Langy. Where do you start with that? Where do you start? Gus is no replacement. Santos are one of the most... No replacement, I mean, for Lang. Santos are one of the most famous clubs in Brazil. The £2 million for Lang certainly won't have been received by our club yet, let alone spent. Going to the next kitty, going to the next round of buying. Here's another. This another bloke. Millie Alley, a budget signing, just shows where our wallets are at. I mean, this is just knee-jerk commenting on something and someone they know absolutely nothing about. The past of that player, his track record, what's been going on in his football world. You're just showing yourself up, writing stuff like that. Here's another, commenting on the business in the window. Eisner's got to go in the summer for me. Can I just say, our chairman doesn't buy and sell our players. He respects the people who advise him on what they want to do. John Mousinho and Rich Hughes primarily. They work to a budget because, Sounders, we all work and live to a budget. Even Pep. That's life. But tell me who were better owners in the history of Pompey than this lot. And unless it's just the fact you don't want Americans. Or perhaps foreigners is more what get up your nose. I acknowledge the dealing in the summer may not have been the best. In fact, it wasn't. I doubt that Rich Hughes and John Mousinho would argue with that. But it's easy in hindsight to say it, of course. And they will have debated the consequences of all that and the different players involved. They will have debated that ad nauseam by now. They'll have sorted out what went wrong and what can be saved from all that, what can be repaired, what might in the end turn into a triumph. They may have to ask to direct resources from buying promise to buying experience. They may have to acknowledge that. They may have to ask for more money and risk the sack. No, I didn't mean that, Sanders. They're not going to. That's not going to happen. But they may have to ask for more money, and some may be available, some may be found in one way or another. I suppose really, Sounders, I've finished now, but my greatest fear will be if John Mousinho, who is at, let's face it, the sharp end of the Pompey javelin, fell out with Rich Hughes, in whom he is undoubtedly, to some degree, dependent. That would be awful. That would be such a shame for two really talented and really nice blokes who we all enjoy at our club. And the board should do everything they can to keep both of those men happy. Sounders, let's see how happy we all are at the end of this month. A hard month. 4 away, 2 at home. Play out, Pompey.